Man, I've been staring at the draft boards for hours, and what I just found is going to change the way we look at our defense forever. We all know how Chris Ballard operates, right? He's the guy who stays patient while we're all screaming for a big splash. But listen, something is brewing in the front office that feels different this time. It is not just about filling a hole or finding a rotational piece anymore. We're talking about a total philosophical shift that could land us the most dominant edge rusher in the nation. If you love this team as much as I do, you need to hear this because the future of our secondary and our pass rush is colliding right now. Dennis Sutton is the name that every single person in Indianapolis needs to start memorizing immediately because the latest 2026 mock projections are linking him directly to us in a way that makes too much sense. Look, I know it feels like 2026 is a lifetime away, but the way Ballard is positioning this roster right now shows he is playing chess while the rest of the league is playing checkers. Dennis Sutton is a complete freak of nature out of Penn State, standing at 6'5" and weighing nearly 270 pounds of pure muscle and speed. He is the kind of defensive end that makes quarterbacks wake up in a cold sweat. The report indicates that Ballard is looking to execute one of his signature moves, trading back from a high spot to accumulate a massive haul of picks, while still keeping his eyes locked on this specific blue-chip prospect. It is a bold strategy that requires nerves of steel. We have seen Ballard do the trade-back dance before, but the context here is different because the talent pool in 2026 is looking historically deep at positions where we are currently hurting the most. Imagine a world where we have a young, hungry defensive line led by a guy with his physical profile. It changes the entire geometry of our defense. It allows our linebackers to play more freely and gives our secondary that extra half second of relief because the ball has to come out fast. But the craziest part of this whole report isn't just about the defensive line. Ballard isn't just looking at the trenches. There is a second layer to this master plan that involves a dynamic playmaker who could redefine our offense or our special teams coverage in a way we haven't seen in years. This is about more than just one player. It is about a total talent infusion that could catapult us back into the elite conversation of the AFC. But just when you think you have the board figured out, you see the names he is targeting in the later rounds and you realize the draft board is about to get flipped upside down. The tension in the war room must be insane because if he pulls this off, it secures the foundation of the Colts for the next decade. But there is another specific name that keeps popping up in these circles, and it is a name that will make every fan in the stadium jump out of their seats. I'm telling you, this draft strategy is absolutely legendary if it works. Are we finally seeing the aggressive version of Ballard we've been waiting for? Drop a comment right now and tell me if you're down for the trade back. Also, make sure you're subscribed because I'm tracking every single move this team makes. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Dion Burks is the other half of this equation that has me losing my mind with excitement. If you haven't been watching what this kid can do on the field, you are missing out on a human highlight reel. The plan being discussed involves taking Burks to add that explosive vertical threat that forces safeties to play 20 yards deep. Think about the spacing that creates for our running game. Think about how much easier life becomes for our quarterback when you have a guy who can take the top off the defense on any given snap. But here's the thing that really gets interesting. Most teams would be happy just getting one of these guys, but the mock draft suggests Ballard is aiming to secure both through a series of high-stakes trades. It is a massive gamble. If you trade back and lose out on your primary target, you look like a fool. But if you play it right, you end up with a haul that defines an era. The report suggests that Jelon Kilgore is also in the mix to solidify the back end of the defense. We are talking about 3 potential starters in one fell swoop. The ripple effect of adding a playmaker like Burks cannot be overstated. He is a guy who demands a double team, and when you combine that with the pressure that Dennis Sutton creates up front, you are looking at a complementary football nightmare for our opponents. I've seen enough Colts drafts to know that we usually value high character and athletic testing, and both of these guys jump off the charts in those categories. The tension here is that other teams are starting to catch on to the 2026 talent pool too. Ballard has to be calculated. He has to know exactly when to strike and when to hold his ground. This isn't just about picking names off a list. It is about building a roster that can compete with the powerhouses of the AFC for years to come. Every time I think I understand the direction of this franchise, a report like this comes out and reminds me that the front office is always looking 3 steps ahead. The real question is whether the fan base has the patience to watch this plan unfold. We want to win now, but this kind of building is what creates a dynasty. The pressure is on, and the clock is already ticking on these decisions. The context of our current roster makes these moves feel less like a luxury and more like a total necessity. We have some aging veterans and some expiring contracts that are going to leave massive holes sooner than we think. If Chris Ballard doesn't hit a home run in this upcoming cycle, the window of opportunity could slam shut before we even realize it opened. I look at the rest of the AFC South and I see teams getting younger and faster. We cannot afford to be the team that plays it safe while everyone else is taking swings at the fences. Selecting Danny Dennis Sutton would signal to the entire league that the Indianapolis Colts are serious about winning the battle in the trenches again. It reminds me of the days when our defensive line was feared every single Sunday. And adding Deion Burks, that is the lightning to the defense's thunder. The impact of this strategy goes beyond the stats on the field. It's about the culture of the locker room. It's about showing the fans that there is a clear, definitive vision for where this team is going. I've lived through the ups and downs of this franchise, and I can tell you that the feeling of a successful draft is like nothing else. It's that hope that this is finally our year, but the future is never guaranteed. Injuries, missed evaluations, or other teams jumping ahead of us in the draft order could ruin everything in a second. That is why the trade-back strategy is so polarizing. You are betting on your ability to scout better than 20 other teams. You are betting that the guys you want will still be there after you move down. It is a high-wire act without a net. If Ballard pulls this off, he will be hailed as a genius. If it fails, we might be looking at a total rebuild of the front office itself. The stakes literally could not be higher for the future of this organization. I keep thinking about how these pieces fit together. A dominant edge, a vertical threat, and a physical safety. It's the blueprint for modern NFL success. We are watching the foundation being poured in real time, and even though the games are far off, the decisions being made in that draft room today will determine our joy or our heartbreak for years to come. I am leaning towards being optimistic because the talent is undeniable, but the execution has to be flawless. At the end of the day, being a Colts fan is about trusting the process even when it feels like we are moving at a snail's pace. This report about Danny Dennis Sutton and the 2026 draft strategy isn't just a list of names. It is a lifeline for a franchise that is hungry for its next great era. It represents the hope that we are building something sustainable, something that doesn't just flare up for one season and disappear. It means that the front office still has the fire to be aggressive when the right players are on the board. This strategy tells me that we aren't settling for mediocrity. We are aiming for the top, even if it takes a little longer to get there. If these projections hold true, and Ballard can navigate the draft board with his usual precision, we aren't just looking at a better team, we are looking at a championship contender. But I want to hear from the real ones. Do you think Chris Ballard is making the right move by planning to trade back and stockpile picks for these specific guys? Or are you tired of the waiting game and want a massive move right now? This is the fork in the road for our franchise, and your opinion matters more than you think. Smash that like button if you believe in this vision, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop on everything Indianapolis Colts. We are in this together, through every trade, every pick, and every touchdown. This journey is just getting started, and the moves we are seeing today are going to be the ones we talk about for the next decade. Keep your eyes on the board and your heart with the team. The blue and white are rising, and I can't wait to see how this story ends. Believe in the Horseshoe, because the best is yet to come. See you in the next one. See you in the next one.